I'm not Kaiju No8. My name is Kafka Hibino.
What's up, y'all? We back at it with a new chapter of Kaiju No8, chapter 120. Ayo, I promise you, these chapters go by so fast for this to be a bi-weekly series. Like, yo, by the time I get to the end, I'm like, yo, this the last page? Like, nah. And then they always end on a cliffhanger. Ayo, there's a lot of series that does cliffhangers, but I feel like Kaiju No8 does it on every single chapter where you get to that last page and you're like, yo, I need to know what happened there. Oh, man, it's the last page. Like, yo, I feel like it happens every damn time. Now, I'm sorry I'm a little amped, but this chapter was goated. It had a lot of great moments where it got me like, yo, when it gets to this season in the anime, it's gonna cook. I know it's gonna be crazy. But before we get into this review for chapter 120, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications. Greatly appreciated. Now, I made a video 2 weeks ago on the day we was supposed to get a chapter, but we got that, picture page chapter. I made a video saying that the transformation was coming and it will be here by the time we get to the last page of the chapter. I told you guys that, and some of y'all was like, nah, man, I think this is it, man. I don't think he's getting a transformation. But as you can see, Kafka, your boy, the MC, has got a new transformation, and that shit look crazy. I love the fact that he's breaking out of his old form into a new form. It's kind of like he was breaking out of his shell, kind of like he's shedding his skin. I love the way they did that at the end of this chapter. And it kind of makes me wonder, when you think about moments when Kafka was like in deep battles, like when he was fighting the general, when he was fighting number 9, when it was him and Gin, there were moments where Kafka was fighting and his mask was starting to crack. It was starting to
So much power.
crack around him. And I wonder if he was on the verge of actually going into that transformation back then, because they show his mask like crack in this chapter, and the next thing you know, it breaks off, it shatters, and then he has his new form. So I'm very curious if maybe he was close to going to that transformation back then when he lost control a few times, especially when he was up against the general and the kaiju was just wanted to destroy the general because it assumed he was number 2. I'm very curious about that. You guys let me know y'all take on that. But in this chapter, we get a lot of great moments, man. And the way Kafka kind of talks to his younger self, and you see that this whole time, Kafka's younger self has been, he blamed himself for everything that happened. Even though he shouldn't have, because he was just a kid, that weighed heavy on him his whole life. And I imagine when he gave up on his dream to join the Defense Force before Reno, kind of talked him back into it, he probably was like feeling more guilt than anyone else around. Like, it's like, yo, man, I watched my parents' shop get destroyed, the place my mom worked at, the place my grandma liked to take me, Mina lost her cat. Like, he probably was just, he probably was in a great depression that we never even noticed, at the beginning of the series. I knew he was like sad that he couldn't become a Defense Force officer before he met Reno, but I never took the time to realize how much he probably was really suffering. And in this chapter, you realize it, because ever since he was a kid, he's been holding back this guilt of not being able to do anything to help. He's like, all I can do was notify the proper authorities that a kaiju was in the area. But in my eyes, that was enough. As a kid, like, he did enough as a kid. That's just how I feel about it. But yeah, he's been suffering this whole time, and none of us was aware of it. Well, some of y'all, you're probably a lot smarter than me. You probably picked up on it, like, yo, Kafka, he's aching right now. He's aching. But let's get into the chapter, man. Again, subscribe, hit the bell. So the chapter starts off where you have this one line, this one panel, speech bubble, and it's Kafka saying, I'm heading out, Mina. You know how impactful those words probably was to Mina, because her whole life she was always the one heading out into battle because Kafka wasn't able to join the Defense Force. So for her to actually hear that, it probably put her like, yo, for once, I'm not the one on the front line. It's Kafka now. And I wonder if she's going to actually come to terms and just be like, yo, you know, I have more than just, it's more than me just liking Kafka. Like, yo, I have feelings for him because I feel like they're going to end up in it, and they're going to end up together. You know, Kikuru's way too young, and you know, Mina's the only other female interest in the series, and it might just be one of those series where there is no love matchups at the end. Who knows? But you have it where, you know, Kafka is instantly gone. Mina's looking away. All you see is the blood that came out of Kafka's body. And yo, looking at that panel when it's just Mina and she's around all that, yo, he lost a ton of blood. It's crazy that he was able to get back up. But you see, he gets back up. He manages to punch, you know, the ancient kaiju. Again, I hope we get a name at some point for this kaiju. And you got it where everybody's looking. They even showed a little girl who Kafka saved in episode 2, I believe, of the anime. You got her just like surprised that Kafka's back on the battlefield. You got the people in the office surprised. You got it where your boy Hoshina's looking from afar. And then they just show this cool. This panel was just so cool. Hey, look, man. And I know it's a lot of Hoshina mains out there. You know, I know it's a lot of people who like Hoshina the most. And for me, I'm up there with him. You know, Hoshina's just that guy. But you can't say they don't be giving Gin like some of the coldest stuff to say. And it be simple stuff, but given the circumstances, it just make it so cold. The fact that he's sitting there on death's door, he just got stabbed by his heart. Yeah, I don't know if it was, yeah, it's gotta be by his heart because he's still alive. And he says the line like, yo, I passed the baton. And then he just lifts up, his head is hanging, leaning over. Then he lifts up the head. You see the blood running from his eyes and he's like, yo, show your skills, Kafka. Like, I don't know why. That shit was goated. That shit was goated. That was like, ooh, Gin. Like, it was something so simple, and then it had me like just jumping like, yo, Gin is just that guy. Yo, I'm sorry if I'm loud. Gin is just that guy. Yo, Hoshina, look, man, Hoshina's cool. He's cool. You know what I'm saying? I like the little short blades and everything when he go in. I like how he can switch to the long sword. But yo, Gin is just, he's just that guy, man. And you got it where Kaiju No.8, Kafka was able to push back the ancient kaiju. And you see the way Kafka is just standing there, yo. The way Kafka is standing there, it's crazy because he looks a lot slimmer than he normally does, at least in my opinion. And he's just standing there looking at this ancient kaiju straight in his eyes. They got many eyes. But you got it where the people in the office are shouting. It was like, yo, you know, No.8 is back on the front lines. And you got it where, you know, the one scientist, the one doctor, he's like, yo, he had no vitals. Like, what the heck is going on? Then you got it where the new director is like, it's a miracle. There's no way we can explain it. It's just a miracle. However, that doesn't mean, you know what I'm saying, the tables have turned in our favor, which is smart that the general is thinking. You got everybody else shouting and cheering, but the general, the new general, he's like, yo, shit, that don't mean nothing. We could still lose even with him on the battlefield right now. And it shows that the general has been through some tough times. Like, yo, he's not going to get all giddy and shit right away. It's going to take some convincing for him to be like, yo, we got this in the bag. I mean, and it is what it is. But you got it with Kafka standing there. The ancient kaiju puts like those, you know, signs, those ruins on him, and it instantly like split apart Kafka. You see that blood is coming out of him, and you got it where everyone's looking there like, oh shit, Kafka, he's in danger. But you see that we're able to see his core. His core was exposed from the ruin attack from the ancient kaiju, but then it rapidly heals really fast. You got it where Hoshina's looking at Kafka like, yo, what the hell? Like, Kafka, what did you do? And it's crazy that Hoshina has that much of a connection with Kafka, that he knows this is more than what Kafka is normally capable of. He's looking at him like, yo, you did something, like you sacrificed something. And we all know as the readers in the previous chapter, he gave away his humanity in order to beat this ancient kaiju. He will never go back to being human. And it seems like your boy Hoshina is on the verge of realizing that. Like, he's the first to notice that Kafka is completely different. And then you got it where he's like, yo, there's something off about him. Like, yo, there's something different about him. And then you have Kafka speaking. He's not speaking to Hoshina. And that's how I guess the average reader might perceive it to be, like him talking to Hoshina. No, he's talking to all the lost souls inside of him. The souls that got defeated by this ancient kaiju 400 years ago. And you got it what Kafka is telling them, I know, I'll unleash you soon. Just calm down. And I feel like Kafka is only saying that to him because he want to make sure that none of his friends are in the area where they will be affected by this new unleashed power. That's just how I'm taking it. I could be wrong. But you got it where Hoshina is still observing and he's just like, yo, something's different. Something's wrong. Then you got like this kind of like Dragon Ball scene. It kind of reminds me of Dragon. I could be wrong, but Well, I can't be wrong. It's just how I'm perceiving it. But you see the ghost is coming up around Kafka as he's like powering up. He's like intensifying his his kaiju strength. And I feel like they should have added a part where someone in the office should have been like, yo, his reading is such and such. I feel like that would have took it, that made this moment 10 times better. Don't get me wrong, this moment was goated, but I feel like it would have made it 10 times better if you would have had somebody say, yo, his reading is 10 point something fortitude. Something like that would have killed this moment. Let me know if y'all agree with me. But seeing Kafka look like this with all the souls around him as he's like powering up or gearing up to, transform, this scene is almost identical to Dragon Ball Z. Some of y'all probably don't remember this, but there was a moment, I don't know if y'all familiar with Cell from the Cell saga. Cell was facing off against, I think it was Piccolo he was facing off against. He was facing off against Piccolo in his first form, and it was after Cell went around absorbing thousands of people to increase his strength. And when he got in front of Piccolo and Android 17, he started powering up, and you just saw the souls of all the people he killed just coming throughout his power up. Just like this panel looks identical, except it's Kaiju No.8 as opposed to being Cell. And I love that callback because for me, I felt like that was one of the dopest power up scenes in all of Dragon Ball, and I feel a lot of people don't give it credit. But to see it here in Kaiju No.8, goated. But then you got it where Kafka starts reminiscing about his past, and he says on that day he was the first one to notice the kaiju. It was him. He reported the sighting. That's all he could do. But this giant kaiju, and I'm curious if this is one of the numbered kaijus or just some random kaiju. I'm very curious. But he said on that day, that's all he can do. And you see the Defense Force member, just a regular squadron member, grabbing him and running him to safety. But he says back then, had I been a captain with a 99% unleashed combat power, or a master blade wielder, the strongest sharpshooter, or superhero with a kill count of 10,000 kaijus, if I hadn't just been a helpless kid, my parents' house wouldn't have been taken down. His dad took many loans out to have the house built. The store that his mom used to work at, the store that his grandma used to take him to, the Mina's cat, all of those things would still be here. He couldn't save any of it, and you can see that he's holding on to that guilt. It's been weighing on him ever since he was a child. And he says he couldn't forgive himself. It's crazy because he's just a child. There's no way he should be carrying that type of burden. It's not his responsibility. Now, I can understand if he was older, he was an adult, he was fighting on the front lines and something like that happened. But as a child, there's no reason he should be carrying that guilt. And it shows you that, trauma follows you. Even in the real world, as a kid, the trauma we suffer as a kid follows us throughout our lives, and it develops us as we grow. So, that's a situation where I'm surprised they didn't offer, and they, what I'm saying, I know it's made up, but you would think they would offer counseling to these kids because of such a traumatizing event occurred in front of them. But you got it where you got the older Kafka looking at his younger self, and he says he's talking to his younger self, which is, I love this inner monologue between, I guess, the two versions of Kafka. And he says I know you don't want to go through this ever again. The path I chose after I grew up isn't what you envisioned, but at the very least, I'm going to go out there and fight in a way that makes you proud. And I love this. He's like, this isn't the path that you've seen for us, but I'm going to go down this path in order to fight and make you proud. And then you have it where the older version of Kafka is walking off, but the younger one reaches out and grabs him, and he gives him that look like, I'm proud of you. Now let's go together. And you got it where both of them are walking out there together, and it's let's go. And you just see both of them, I guess both of his past and present, just merging together with this kaiju form. And you see the face starting to crack up. You got it with Hoshina, Gin, as well as Mina. They're all observing, and you get to this final page where Kafka just breaks the shell of his old form, and you see him in this new kaiju form, and it looks amazing from what I could see. It looked like he got a lot more spikes on his back. His face looks completely different. His mouth is a lot longer. His eyes look different. It also looks like he got 2 extra eyes on the side of his head, at least on one side, so it's probably 2 on the other side. His whole color looks a lot lighter and brighter, so I'm very curious what he's going to be capable of. And I just like the fact that you got in this final panel the pieces of armor falling off of Kafka's body, like the old pieces. I just think this is goated, man. I really love this chapter, man. My only gripe is how short it felt. Like, it was such a good read. Before you know it, I was at the end. This chapter was 23 pages, and it's crazy because it didn't feel like 23 pages. But I like the stuff we got with Kafka. I like that we found out a little bit more about his past, a little bit more about how much of a burden he's been carrying on him, you know, since he was a very young child, how he felt responsible for everything that was lost in his life, even though he was just a child. He had nothing to do with that. I really like how we got this deep dive into Kafka, and I like how they showed him speaking to his younger self, and his younger self was proud of what he became. And Kafka himself, I feel like he probably wasn't proud of himself because of how he only could use 1% of his combat power, and he would never be a part of the defense force had it not been for his kaiju abilities. But hearing his younger self tell him, like, give him that look like, yo, we got this, let's go. Yo, he probably feel more fulfilled than anything, and he probably is more than willing to sacrifice his life to stop this ancient kaiju. So I hope in the next chapter we get to see the Fortitude number. I also hope, Kafka, like, I don't know, I hope we get to see him fight alongside with Reno. I still want Reno as well as Kikaru to join the battle. You don't have to necessarily let Hoshina or Gin join. I mean, you could have it where, you know, they did their job, they're overheated, let them relax and rest. But I would love to see Reno as well as Kikaru aid in this battle against this ancient kaiju. And I'm very curious what new abilities Kafka will have. And honestly, he might just add the Hoshina style to his new form and be unstoppable. But let me know y'all thoughts on this chapter, man. For me, it was goated, man. It was goated all the way through, man. I enjoyed it. But let me know y'all thoughts down below, man. If you like this video, thumb it up. Please subscribe. Hit the bell for all notifications. And I'll catch y'all in the next one, man. Like, yo, this Kafka, man, this chapter is so good, man. I like the fact that the author has a bi-weekly series so they could get time to rest and they don't have to suffer from the struggles that most mangakas suffer with the weekly schedule. But another part of me wants to be like, man, I need this shit every week. I need this shit every week. But hey, look, I talked on long enough, man. Let me know y'all thoughts down below. Make sure you share this to anyone who loves Kaiju number 8. And I'll catch y'all in the next one, man. Peace.
Nobody in the 3rd Division thinks of you as an enemy. Not one of us.
What's up, y'all? We just got chapter 121 of Kaiju number 8, and I'm pissed. I am pissed. This chapter had me so amped, so on the edge of my seat, so proud of Kafka. Like, it had me feeling all of those emotions just for me to get to the last panel and be like, damn, it's over? Like, this is it? Like, this is all we got? This chapter was such a big tease, man. Such a huge tease. It had me pissed, man. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but this chapter had me mad. Don't get me wrong, I love the material. I think they went in, like the panel, Kafka new form. Like, I was excited for all of that, but I wanted more. I don't know, man. It's crazy. This was 24 pages. And it felt like 6. I don't know how they managed to do it. I don't know if the series is just that good where I'm breezing through it or what, but it just felt so quick, and it's just like, yo, I need more. And it's like, I gotta wait 14 more days to get the next chapter. But I will say, I'm proud of Kafka. Like, I love the way he acted in this chapter. I love how confident he felt. And I don't know if you guys noticed throughout this series, like, for the most part, Kafka really is unsure of himself.
I'm sorry.
except for when his friends are in danger and he comes to save them. We seen this confidence when he came to save Kikaru. We seen this confidence when he came to save Reno, as well as Haru, when they were together facing number 9 for the first time. We seen it when he came to help out the general. We also seen it when he showed up to help Mina. So when he shows up to help his friends, he has a whole nother level of confidence in himself. Like when he's just regular facing off against a kaiju, even in his Kaiju number 8 form, he doesn't really feel like he's confident in himself. But like right now in this chapter, he felt like a completely different guy, other than what happened with the little drones. Other than that one part, I guess that was the little comedy they gave us in this chapter. But other than that, Kafka really made me proud in this chapter. Now, I'm very curious about this ancient kaiju. We need a name for this, man. In the comment section, let me know what's the name of this kaiju. But we have it where we see him somewhat powering up, similar to what Kafka did, and Kafka has the souls floating around him. We see him do the same thing, and I wonder if he's like the counter or polar opposite of what Kafka is. If maybe he is a kaiju that's formed from hundreds and thousands of kaijus who were slain by humans. Their grief and their sorrow is what created this ancient kaiju. I wonder if that's the case, because with them showing all the souls and stuff, that's what I kind of thought of. At the same time, it could just be the souls of those that were devoured by this ancient kaiju. But I don't know. I wonder if it's the polar opposite, where these is the lost kaijus from over like maybe 600 or 800 years, compared to Kafka being the souls of lost warriors for over 400 years. I'm really curious if that's the case. You guys can let me know down below, how do y'all feel about that? I still want more from this ancient kaiju, because as far as dialogue, it really hasn't said much. In fact, this chapter right here is the first time we really get any type of words from him, and it's just laughter because he's laughing at Kafka. So I wonder if more so, is it laughing because it sees the similarities, or is it laughing because it's like, you think you're a match for me, ha 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 type of thing. I'm very curious, because we don't know his personality well enough to know whether it was just a laughter to taunt or a laughter, because maybe it was upset or something. We just don't know. As far as we know, I wonder if number 9 is going to make some type of appearance within this ancient kaiju, like he's going to come back to the forefront. I know he said he was gone, he was defeated. I wonder if he's going to make some type of appearance similar to like what the general did within number 9. So I hope that happens, but who knows. Also, one more thing I want to happen, because it feels like the series may be wrapping up. I'm not 100% sure. Let me know y'all thoughts on that down below. But I want to see the other captains get involved in battle. Right now, we've only seen 2 captains really fight, and that's Mina and Gin. I want to see if, what's Jugo? I want to see what he's capable of, because he has the ability like Haru, where his powers fluctuate in battle. And I also want to see Hoshina's brother. I want to see what he's capable of. I think it's one more other captain, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I want to see what those guys are capable of, and hopefully we get to see them join a battle. Like, it'll be dope to see a chapter of all the captains fighting together with Kafka to take down this ancient kaiju. But we're going to get into this chapter. I rambled on long enough. I know you guys want to hear about the chapter. We're going to get into it, but make sure you subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications. Greatly appreciate it, man. Thank you guys for all the love and support on my Kaiju number 8 videos, and check out some of my other stuff. You might like that as well. But we have it where the chapter starts off where Kafka goes into his new form. You see, you got the 2 eyes in the front and the eyes on the side. I think that's dope as hell. Honestly, it's a kaiju they showed us. I can't remember if it was Kaiju number 1. It might have been Kaiju number 1, where they had eyes around the face. And I like how Kafka kind of resembles that. I love the cracks all around him. I love how, I'm curious how this is going to look in color. So for my thumbnails, you guys have seen I made it white. I'm very curious if that's going to be the color they go with. But Kafka new design looks goated as hell, especially in this chapter where we get to see the full detail and everything. You guys let me know how y'all feel about it. Do you like his new form, or do you like his old form better? And then you just got, it's crazy because, and I spoke about how much I like Gin, and hopefully I'm saying this name correctly. Someone said I was saying it wrong. I apologize. But in this chapter, right? And you got this very first panel, and they're showing everyone's facial expressions as they bear witness to Kafka transforming. Now, everyone looks shocked. You got Mina, she's like, oh, what's this? You got it with Hoshina's like, what the fuck? You got it with the new general, what's his name? Kaiji, I believe in it, Kiji. You got it where he's looking surprised as well. But then you got it where Gin is there, and he's just standing there looking with the smile on his face like, yeah, damn right. Like everyone else is shocked and puzzled. Gin got that look where he's just like, yeah, that's my boy right there. That's my boy right there. He about to go in. And I don't know why. I felt like that one interaction of him stole the chapter. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong, there's other hype stuff, but I just love how whenever they put him on a panel, they make it where he's doing something where, despite the situation, he just got to steal the show. And I love that, man. But you just got him looking with the blood running down his eyes, just like, yeah. And it jumps to the next page, and you got Kurosu. He's looking like, yo, number 8 shape is changing. Like, yo, these waveforms, it's neither kaiju nor human. So, yeah, this right here is really leading me to believe that Kafka will not go back to being normal. I was kind of having my little doubts, like, nah, he will be human again. But like this panel right here, like he's in a totally unknown form. And they saying like, yo, they can't really get any readings on it, the shapes and all of that. It's not kaiju nor human. Like, yeah, this is something completely new, and the Defense Force isn't prepared for this. So Kafka may very well be stuck in this form like they were saying, but you got everybody looking, and then they say what I actually had as the title on my last chapter review, and now I wish I would have saved it for this one, but it was just like, unable to measure his fortitude. Like, yo, that shit is crazy. Like, yo, we can't even measure this shit right now. He is just that strong that we can't measure it. And you have it with the new, the new general, Kiji, he's like, yo, if we can't measure his fortitude, that means he's above fortitude 10. Like his fortitude is above 10. And it was like, damn, that's crazy. It's very similar to the ancient kaiju, which means the ancient kaiju is above 10. Now, up until this point, I don't believe they actually told us what the fortitude was of this ancient kaiju. And even more so, looking at this panel right here, I didn't even notice it's floating in the air as opposed to like standing on the ground. It's floating in the air. That's gotta be the first time I've seen that as well, unless I missed it. But you got it where, Kiji is saying like, yo, should Kafka turn against us, we have nothing in our forces that can stop him. Like, yo, if Kaiju number 8 was an enemy, there's nothing we can do to stop him. He can pretty much destroy this whole planet, they're pretty much saying how powerful Kafka is right now. And I ain't gonna lie, his form just look crazy as hell with the horns, the spikes on the back looking like Godzilla. Like, yo, this dude just look crazy as hell. And then you have it where Kafka just says, like, he pretty much, I guess, like in a way, he put the general at ease without him even being aware of it. You have it with Kafka, like everyone's like puzzled at what he's turning into. They're scared. They don't know if he's friend or foe. And you have it where Kafka just says like, yo, I'm sorry. And then everyone's just like, what? He's sorry. He's like, yo, my shockwaves from transforming ended up breaking the drones. And you see him holding the drones in his hand, and you got everyone just looking like, are you shitting me? Like, I guess this is the same old Kafka. You got it with Mina. She starts smiling because she realized like, yo, he's still the same guy from when they were kids. And I like that. I like their relationship. A lot of people say they don't like Mina, because of the way she treated him in the beginning of the series. But man, I don't know, man. She's grown on me. But you got it where Kafka's like, yo, I racked up this debt. I'm gonna have to pay it off. I'll make sure to work it off. And you got this cold ass panel where he's, yo, this dude look like, it's a villain. He looks like, matter of fact, he looks like Taskmaster right here in this panel. I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with Taskmaster. Outside of the eyes on top of his horns, he looks just like Taskmaster, if you ask me. And you just got him looking towards, the ancient kaiju, and the eyes on his horns. Oh my gosh, like this form is goated, man. Like he looks scary. Like he looked scary in his first form, but he looked damn scary in this form. And then you got it where Mina's like, yo, that's Kafka, all right. You got it where it was like, yo, the form that he's taking on, like, what is this? It's different from his berserk form. This is something completely new. So yeah, we were correct when we were saying like, yo, he was on the verge of transforming when we seen him go berserk against the general. He just didn't reach this level of enlightenment, I guess, so to speak. And then you have it where Hoshina is saying, don't tell me he And I wonder what Hoshina knows. I'm very curious what he knows about the situation. Does he know that Kafka gave up his humanity? He gave away his ability to go back to being human. Is Hoshina aware of this? And if that's the case, I'm curious how his interactions are going to be going forward in the series. But you got it what Kafka says, he can see them. He can see all the souls around him, and you just got this panel where he's saying the emotions are endlessly gushing out: resentment, hatred, regret, rage. For number 8, they served as an energy source, an inexhaustible pitch black fuel. And you just see all the regret, all the anger, all the hatred, or all those who died in the past. And you just got it where Kafka's just like surging with energy, and you got the souls coming out of him. Like I said, it does remind me of Cell from, Dragon Ball Z when he was powering up that one time. And you got it where number 9, or the ancient kaiju, is observing, Kafka, and he's able to see those warriors raging, those warriors with sorrow and anger. He's able to see it, or at least that's how I'm perceiving this panel to be. And you have it where he starts laughing, because I'm guessing he's remembering that he slaughtered all these guys 400 years ago. And this is the first time we've ever seen this ancient kaiju show any type of emotion, and it's laughing. You even have it where Kurusu is saying, making that report saying like, yo, he's laughing, what's going on? He's actually laughing at what's going on. And then he starts powering up, and you see like kaiju's behind him in the background. And see, that's why I'm curious right now if he's the polar opposite of Kafka. Is he a combination of kaijus who have fallen in the past, and he's gotten to this point where he's seeking vengeance for his fallen brethren? I'm very curious about that. You have it where he powers up, he charges straight towards Kafka, punches him in the face, and this one punch destroys the whole area. I mean, like the whole area. Buildings, everything are just collapsing from the power of that impact. You have it even where Hoshina, as well as you see Gin, but you really can't see his facial expression. You see Mina as well. You got it where all these people are bearing witness to what just happened, and then you just see a hand raise up. And if this time I thought it was the ancient kaiju, but no, it turns out to be Kafka, and he says like, hey, we don't want to get anyone else wrapped up in this battle, so let's take the battle over there where this transmission tower is. And you got it where Kafka punches this ancient kaiju in the face and send him flying. Now this reminds me of a moment in Bleach. I don't know if you remember when Aizen first reached his final form, and Ichigo came out of that little, I guess, tunnel where time didn't exist, and it made him grow up without him actually growing up. And he comes out, and Aizen's just standing there, and he's like, I can't sense no energy from Ichigo. And he's like, yo, let's take this battle over there away from everybody else, away from the town and civilians. And Aizen's like, you're giving me demands? And the next thing you know, Ichigo grabs him by the face and just like throws him across the field all the way to the new location where they could battle. That's what this reminded me of when it came to Kafka saying like, yo, let's take this to over there where the transmission towers are. And he punches the kaiju and sends him flying. And you have it where Kafka is like walking in that direction, and he's like doing like the Goku thing where he's like, you know how anime characters are, where they're cracking their muscles and they're getting ready to gear up. And I'm just sitting here like, holy shit, I cannot wait. And you got it where Kafka says the line like, yo, I suppose I should get going then. Hey, yo, I wish we could have got I wish this wasn't the last panel of this chapter, for obvious reasons, like I said earlier. But I would have loved that the final panel would have been the reactions of everybody else from the Defense Force. Your boy Gin, your boy Hoshina, Mina, the new General Kiji, Kurusu, Reno. Like, I really wish we could have got the interactions of all those different characters. Now, I don't know how to feel about this battle right here, because like I said in previous videos, part of me want Kafka to be the one to finish this thing off, but then there's another part of me that want other people to aid to this battle, because one of my favorite battles in this series is when Kafka, Gin, Kafka and Gin was facing off against number 9 after he devoured the general, Iso. After they devour him, and you have both of them fighting together to take down number 9. I love that battle of these powerful characters working together to take down a more powerful foe. So part of me wants them to aid in this battle against this ancient kaiju with Kafka, but then again, there's part of me that feels like Kafka needs to beat this guy alone to show, you know how powerful or how much of a sacrifice he made to obtain this new power. So I really just don't know which way to go with it. You guys can let me know down in the comments section how y'all feel about it. But all in all, man, this was an amazing chapter. My biggest gripe is it just felt like a tease. Like I said, 24 pages, it went through like that. And I get it. It probably is because some of the panels didn't have any words on it. It was just, drawn. But man, this was it was amazing. It was really amazing. But I need y'all to let me know down below, how do y'all feel about Kafka's new form? What do y'all think about that first panel with Gin? Do you feel like he stole the show with how everyone else was just shocked and surprised, and he just had that smirk on his face like, this is what I was waiting for? Like, let me know that. And also let me know, do you feel like the series is going to end? Do you feel like Kafka is going to be stuck in this form? Because just based on how they were talking earlier in this chapter, how they don't have anything that can deal with Kafka's new power. Like, it makes it sound like they can't even do anything to even pierce his skin to try to see if they could get to his body within the body. So yeah, I feel like Kafka may actually be stuck like this. And I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about that. I love the fact that he was able to go back and forth, but now that he's actually stuck in this new form that's neither human nor kaiju, a combination of both, I'm very curious what's going to happen in the future of this series. I hope it's not ending. I would love to see even more bigger threats come, but who knows what's going to happen after this battle actually finished. But let me know your thoughts on this down below, man. If you like this video, thumb it up. Please subscribe. Greatly appreciate it. And I will catch y'all in the next one, man. Peace. Yo, this is what I'm talking about, okay? This is what I'm talking about. We just got Kaiju No.8, chapter 122, and I just love how Kafka is he's such a presence right now. Like, yo, everyone is seeing him like, yo, damn, this is No.8? This is what Kafka is capable of? And just to think that Kafka went from a person who had 0% combat power without, using his suit in the defense force to someone where everyone's watching him fight on behalf of the human race. I love it. I love how this chapter displayed how powerful Kafka is and how powerful, this ancient kaiju is. We actually get the name of it. I can't remember what they said. They called it some type of kaiju. When I get to that page as we do the review, you know what I'm saying, I'll say the name or attempt to say the name. I'm not going to say I'm going to get it right, but I'm going to attempt to say the name. But also, not only that, my boy Gin is crazy. Like I said in previous reviews, the man one-liners be enough to make up for a whole chapter.
Almost thought you were trying to get yourself killed.
The fact that he's watching Kafka go in and fight this ancient kaiju, and he was like, yo, this ancient kaiju is something we've never seen before. But what's really pissing me off the most is that No.8 is a cut above that. Like, I don't know why, just the fact that he's like acknowledging Kafka as being the strongest. I just felt like that was just an epic moment. We had everyone else just pretty much watching, but Gin was the only one who gave words like, yo, damn, this is No.8? This is what he's capable of? I don't think there's no way I could stand up to this guy. And I don't know why. Some people might say it's a small moment, a small panel. I shouldn't be so happy about it, but that shit made my day. I got to that panel, I was like, if only Kafka could see or hear what you just said, it would have been priceless, man. I loved it. And then just seeing how far as we got some callback to the general, and it's kind of messed up that we'll never see him again. But far as the blasts that the general was doing when he was facing off against No.9, also when he was facing off against Kafka, he can only do 2 of those blasts, and he struggles to do that. But you have it where this ancient kaiju is just shooting it like it's nothing. It shows how the level of power that this kaiju actually acquired, and now that it has the intelligence of number 9, it's gonna be dangerous because it's gonna have the ability to think. So I feel like the series, I was kind of leaning towards the series was coming to an end, but I don't know now, because I feel like now that it has the intelligence of number 9, if it feels threatened, it will escape. It will have the thought process to get away, to live and fight another day. Think about all the battles we've seen number 9 in, where he was almost outmatched or he was on the verge of dying. He was smart enough to say like, yo, that's it for the day, I'm done. Like when he absorbed the general and Kafka and Ging was trying to take him down, he was like, yo, I'm done. You know, my body isn't, fully recovered from absorbing the general and number 2. So it'd be foolish for me to keep fighting y'all. I would risk being killed. He left. Also, when he was on beating Hawk, what's his name? Damn, I can't even think of his name right now. But Reno and the other guy, I can't think of his name. The other guy, he's pretty dope as well. But you have it where number 8 steps in and beats number 9 up, and he was like, yo, you know what? You surprised me. You're a lot stronger than I was expecting, number 8. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here.
Retreat for now. There is no path to retreat.
And he escapes. So, you know what I'm saying? This ancient kaiju has the intelligence of number 9 now. So if it does get backed into a corner, it's a good chance that it's going to run away and live to fight another day. Now, it might have some type of anger to the fact that it's actually being pushed back. It's never experienced that before, so there's a chance that it might not turn out the way with him retreating. It might turn out to he might have a pride thing, similar to like they said about number 2, because he does have number 2 absorbed in him within him as well. When you think about number 2, when they were talking about him in season 1 or the earlier chapters of the manga, they said he was very prideful. He fought to the very end.
A sense of pride so strong that it didn't give up until the moment it died.
So there's a chance that personality may come to the forefront of this ancient kaiju. We just don't know, but I feel more so like it's going to try to retreat. But we see that it's about to undergo a transformation. We're about to see its real self, its true self, and I'm very curious how that form will look. Number 9, I guess he's completely gone. We won't see him again. I kind of feel mad about that, because number 9 was a great villain, and he really set the stage or the tone of this series, where was curious to see how much more he was going to learn, how much he was going to develop as a villain, and what new countermeasures he would make against the defense force. I was looking forward to that week on a week by week basis. But now that he's completely gone, I don't know. I don't know what this ancient kaiju is going to do now. But we're about to get into the chapter review, man. I rambled long enough about the stuff that stood out to me the most. I might notice more stuff as I go back through the chapter with you guys. So make sure you subscribe, hit that bell for all notifications, man. I greatly appreciate it, man. You better subscribe, man. It's free. It don't cost you a thing. Do it. Nah, I'm just messing with y'all, man. Do what you want to do, man. Live life, have fun. But the chapter starts off where we got Kafka standing there. You got the little drone in the background. Now, I would have loved if we got to the point where, I don't know if you remember in season 1 of the anime, when, Kafka transformed to save Kikaru. There was a moment where, they had drones watching all the people they were trying to train or do that test to get into the defense force. There was a moment where Kafka and them was emitting so much energy. Kafka and the kaiju he was facing off against, they were emitting so much energy that the drones, pretty much the cameras on the drones kind of fried, and they couldn't actually see what was going down. I would have loved if a situation like that would actually took place, as far as the people that's in the command station watching, as far as the people on the battlefield, they're actually bearing witness to it. So either or. But you have it where the chapter starts off with Kafka standing there. He's in front of number 9. You got the drones flying, looking at him, and they see that number 9 is ancient kaiju is unscathed. And you got it where the people are thinking, Kafka is thinking to himself like, yo, after gaining number 9's power and intellect, this kaiju is more powerful than it was 400 years ago. And I believe they call it a Miriki. Hopefully I'm saying it right. Miriki kaiju. That's the name of it, I'm guessing, but it's way stronger now than it was in the past. And you got it where Kafka says, unless I defeat it here today, the catalysm that took place back in the day was spread across the whole entire world. That's how big of a threat this creature is. And I wonder, with this type of kaiju, if it's more versions of this kaiju out there, like other different ones, like, ones that's been around even longer than 400 years, ones that's been around 1,000 years. I'm very curious if there is more like that, and will we actually see it? I feel like number 9 actually had the knowledge of that when he made the statement saying like, yo, I am the strongest kaiju on the surface, meaning that there may be even more Mirariki kaijus like this beneath the Earth's surface. Now, that's just a speculation, but you got it. What Kafka says, let's do it, and he starts charging towards this ancient kaiju, and he starts punching in. You can see that the force that kaiju is pushing, that Kafka is pushing out, is sending this ancient kaiju flying in the opposite direction, and it's just, this shit just looks dope as hell. Kafka isn't stopping. He's going in. He's boxing this dude in the air, and the shock waves from his blows is pushing the other members of the defense force back. You got it where you got your boy Hoshina looking from afar like, yo, this is Kafka. You got it with Mina, she's covering her face. Like, these are all epic moments in my opinion. I'm sorry, man, I'm a little amped. I love Kaiju number 8. It's my second ongoing series right now, in my first main ongoing series. It only drops chapters every 3 months now. So, you know what I'm saying? So I got to get a little amp when it comes to Kaiju number 8. But you got it where they're clashing in the air, and it just looks amazing, man. Everyone's looking with just shock. But you got it where this ancient kaiju uses his tail to grab Kafka and send him flying into the buildings. Man, hey, look, I can't wait for the anime to catch up with this. I just can't wait. Then you got it with Kafka flying through the building. As he's flying through the building, number 9 pops up right above him and starts clashing with him even more. Kafka manages to get away from him. Next thing you know, you see this ancient kaiju charging up a blast, and it turns out to be the main burst blast that number 2 was doing, all those many years ago before it was subdued, as well as one of the abilities that the general was using as well. And you got it where the new general is like shouting like, oh nah, this blast is crazy. It shoots it towards Kafka, and Kafka is like, yo, you firing at the ground? Like, yo, you trying to turn this place to a vacant lot, you dumbass? And yo, he kicks the blast straight in the air, yo. Oh my gosh, this shit looks so amazing. That if that blast would have hit, I'm assuming it would have wiped out everything in the area. Now my question is, would the defense force warriors or soldiers have been able to survive that? Now I know not the weaker ones, they probably would have been dusted, but I'm like, far as like Mina, Hoshina and Gin, would they have been able to survive that blast had it connected to the ground? Let me know your thoughts on that down below, man. I'm curious to hear how y'all feel about the defense force, if they can take that blast or not. But you got it where the blast gets sent up to the air, it ends up exploding, and then you got it where this ancient kaiju is just like, he's actually shooting a barrage, and he's shooting many more blasters. So Kafka takes flight to the air. You see like energy or thrusters coming from his feet. He flies towards the air, and he's dodging these blasters. You have it where the blasters are coming towards him again, and he uses the thrust from his feet to make all the bombs in the air actually explode. This panel was epic, man. You got it where the people in the center is just like, yo, all shots avoided, all shots avoided. But then you got it where one blast actually looks like it's about to hit Kafka. It connects, it explodes, and then this ancient kaiju follow up with a even more vicious barrage towards Kafka in the explosion. Now I'm not sure if all these blasts actually connected or if they were actually exploding from the explosion of the first blast. But of course you got Mina looking from afar. You got Gin where he starts talking. He's like, yo, this is frustrating. Yo, ISO struggled, the general, he struggled to fire 2 of these shots, and this thing is just blasting them off, blasting a dozen off of them so casually. This is insane. And you got it where the new general is saying the original number 2 kaiju couldn't even pull off a stunt like that. It couldn't blast off this many fireballs from its from its ability. It's saying that this ancient kaiju took this power and made it its own and took it far beyond what even the original host used it for. And you got it where everyone's watching from the station. They're saying there's no doubt about it. This kaiju that just emerged is the strongest in history. It's the most outrageous monster of them all. And of course you got it where Gin and Hoshina are both looking, but Gin goes to say, but what frustrates him the most is that number 8 is even a cut above that. And you got it that Ging is a little bit jealous of how powerful Kafka has become. And I don't know, I like that, man. I just really like that, because just to think how Kafka went from being one of the weakest members in the whole entire defense force to being their greatest weapon, their greatest asset. I love it. But you got it where Kafka gets right in front of this ancient kaiju face and just hits it with a barrage of blows, man. You know, the way these blows look, it really make me think of One Punch Man. The scene where, what was his name? I think his name was Puri or something along those lines. But there's a scene where he was fighting the Sea King, and after he struck the Sea King, he was like, yo, those some really strong punches, but you know what your punches are lacking? The intent to kill. Every blow needs to be a finishing blow. And then the Sea King went to punch the hell out of Puri. Hopefully I'm saying his name right. And as he did that, you know what I'm saying, the way number 8 face body looks right here is how that dude face looked when he got pummeled by the Sea King. That's just what it reminded me of when I saw it. But you got it where Kafka is punching him so hard that the ground around him is beginning to crumble, showcasing how powerful Kafka has actually become. Then you got it where he's standing over the pummeled body of this ancient kaiju. You got the people saying like, yo, keep going and finish it off. Then Kafka makes the statement that surprised the hell out of me. He says, yo, please extend the restricted area to a radius of 5 kilometers. He's coming out. So that means this whole time it wasn't even in its true form. This whole time it was just using the body of number 9 to see what it can do, in this new era. Now he's like, yo, this dude is a bit much. It's time I show him the real me. This is insane. The chapter ends on this clip. Oh my gosh, every chapter for Kaiju number 8 is a damn huge cliffhanger. It always leaves you wanting more. I need more of this, man. I need more of this. But this was a hell of a chapter, man. I don't know what stole the show. Kafka being so overwhelmingly powerful. Number 8, the new number 9 getting a new form, or the ancient kaiju getting a new form, Ging and his statements, or you know what I'm saying, just everyone else bearing witness to what Kafka was truly capable of. I don't know what stole the show, but I know I loved it. Man, let me know y'all thoughts on this chapter down below, man, and I will catch y'all in the next one, man. Peace.
Let me show you.
What's up, y'all? We back at it with another chapter of Kaiju number 8. Yo, this chapter was crazy. Chapter 123. Yo, I'm not at the crib, so hopefully you guys can respect the grind and still thumb up the video. I would greatly appreciate it. But this chapter, hey, yo, this chapter was amazing as hell, yo. I never even considered the possibility of making numerous of number weapons off of the same kaiju body. I didn't even think something like that would even be possible, but it makes sense. And the way this chapter worded it, it's almost as if our boy Ging has the Rinnegan from Naruto, where whatever he sees, anyone else who has the same number weapon as him sees it too. This chapter was crazy. I'm sorry, your boy's a little amp. Not only that, man, this ancient kaiju, hey, yo, he's something else. He is something else, yo. There's a scene in this chapter where he puts his blast, like he does that, like, I guess, ruin attack, and he places it on Kafka's head and rips this dude's head off. I don't think we've ever seen someone do something so vicious to Kafka. I think the closest thing was number 9 punching through his chest. And that was the closest thing, or maybe the general battle. It's between one of those two things. Other than that, I don't think nothing came as close to being as brutal of an attack to Kafka as this was. That was insane. I was looking like, yo, did he just take my man's head off? Like, yo, it's a good thing he has these kaiju powers, because if he was a human, he wouldn't have survived that. He would have died. And just seeing him do that to Kafka, who's in his like ultimate form right now, there's no one in the defense force who could stand up against this ancient kaiju. There is nobody who could, even Gin with his abilities, let's just say he was fully refreshed, he wouldn't stand a chance against this guy. At most, he might be able to dodge a few attacks, but eventually he would actually overheat and this guy would take him out. I'm just being honest with you guys. I don't think anyone in this era can take this guy down. And it's crazy to think that 400 years ago, when he ran amok, yo, I can only imagine how many people he slaughtered, because they didn't have the technology back then that the defense force has now. So this guy probably was just ripping through cities, countries, all types of stuff. And we also see a ability brought back that we haven't seen since the beginning of the series. And that's number 9, ability to reawaken kaijus that's already been killed. Now, I'm curious if that's actually number 9's ability, or is that the ability of this ancient kaiju and number 9 utilized it for himself? Now, I'm very curious which one of those it may actually be. You guys can let me know in the comment section what y'all actually think, man. But all in all, man, this chapter was a solid 10 out of 10. Like Kafka, you know what I'm saying? He did his damn thing. Kikaru, oh my gosh, yo, the fact that she got 2 numbered weapons, I wonder if this is the first time that this has ever been done, because everybody who has a numbers weapon only has 1 numbers weapon that we know of so far. So I wonder if she's going to go down in history as the first and only defense force officer to have 2 number weapons. I wonder if that's the case. I don't know, man. Let me know down below. Maybe there was someone who had 2 number weapons and I just can't remember. I want to say she's the only one, but like, yo, she's on a whole nother level right now. Like I'm surprised and curious. I wonder why she didn't use this trump card against number 15 she was facing off against. I wonder why she didn't use that trump card against number 15, or was it pretty much where she knew she had to save it just in case something went crazy. I'm very curious what was the reason why she chose to wait till now to use it. Now I understand that it was good that she chose to wait, but I'm curious what made her make that decision. Now also, with this actually going down in this chapter, I guarantee you the next chapter we get is going to be a flashback chapter where they're pretty much going to explain the whole conversation between Gin and Kikaru and how they came up to this decision to actually, you know, have her use number 1 eyes. It might even be a situation where, you know, they're actually sparring against one another, and then he's like, yo, you can somewhat see, can't you? And then he's like, yo, I want to try something with you. Or it might even be similar to like what we got with Gin in the General in the spin-off series Kaiju No.8 B-side, where they actually show how Gin actually got the eyes, and you know, how the general actually noticed that Gin was compatible with number 1 weapon eyes. It might be a situation like that as far as in the next chapter with a flashback of Gin and Kikaru. It might be something where he feels like he's in the shoes of the general, doing what the general did to him when he first got the eyes, the number 1 eyes. Now, if that does turn out to be the case, I'm down for it, because that sounds like it would be goated as hell. But we about to get into this chapter, man. Again, make sure you thumb up and subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications, and I will, you know what I'm saying, greatly appreciate it. I was about to say I'll see you in the next one. You can tell your boy Amp, man. I'm thinking I'm at the end of the video already. But the chapter starts off with Kafka just, I love how confident Kafka feels right here. Like, we've never seen him this confident. Like, the last chapter and this chapter are the only 2 times we seen him on the battlefield where he just feels like he's in complete control over the situation. And I really like to see this side of Kafka. And, yo, he came a long way. But you got it where he's standing there. He's like, yo, please extend the restricted area of a radius of 5 kilometers, because he already know what's about to go down. He's like, yo, he's coming out. And it's crazy because what we've seen before wasn't even his true form, which is insane to me. You got it where you know, you got Hoshina like, what do you mean? And Kafka's like, yo, you got Hoshina saying like, yo, you know what this thing is? And he says like, yeah, he showed up 400 years ago. He scorched the earth during the Edo period, and he's a major historic living catalysm. And you got it where he's countless kaiju that live beneath the surface of this country. And you got it where he comes out. He's like, yo, a Dai Kaiju of the Mariki, hopefully I'm saying that correctly, era. Then you got everyone bearing witness to this creature come out of the body of number 9 and take its true form. But then you still got Kafka standing on the building top, looking so confident, so calm, so cool, so collective. It's like I said, man, like the way he is right now, I'm really digging it. But this creature design, yo, that's some shit. Like if I see that, I'm running, yo. You see all these heads, all these mouths, all these eyes, and then he got hit, the way he got his hands placed together kind of remind you of what's the guy name from Naruto? He does it when he does his shadow possession jutsu, Shikamaru. Like the way he got his hand is like Shikamaru when he's thinking. So that alone would have probably had me like, yo, nah, this dude up to something. Yo, we need to get the hell out of Dodge. But anyway, you got it where everyone's bearing witness. They all fear it. You got it where Gin says like, yo, that explains why I was seeing multiple signal sources from this guy when I was trying to read him with the number 1 retinas. And I don't know, man. I just Gin every time he step on the scene. Every time he step on the scene, hands down, it's amazing. But you got it where this ancient kaiju does some type of scream attack towards Kafka. It shatters the buildings. It's pushing back the other defense force, high tier people, not like the low tier, like, you know, Mina and Hoshina and Gin, they're all being pushed back by the force of this thing's scream. But you got it where Kafka was able to dodge it, and he's going in for a blow to strike it down, and he says it's over. But you got it where this kaiju catches the punch of Kafka, and they start exchanging blows. Now, shout out to Kafka for being able to exchange blows evenly with a creature this damn big. Because if you look at this panel where you see Kafka all small, but this creature is huge, it's just crazy to me. And then you got it where Kafka says like, yo, it turns out that he's much stronger than he was 400 years ago. First, I'll slip past him and find his core. And then that's when you see the scene I spoke of earlier where this guy puts the ruin across Kafka's face and rips his head off. This was insane. You got it with Kafka saying like, yo, he's grown even more in force. And like I said earlier, I've never seen anyone do an attack so brutal against Kafka. He's like, yo, I need to find a way to get near him. And then this guy unleashes a scream. He unleashes a scream, and I'm not gonna lie, this part right here when he does this scream, it really gave me Attack on Titan vibes. I don't know how many of y'all felt the same way, but it really gave me Attack on Titan vibes where this guy did this type of scream and, you know, Titans just start running to the area where to attack the humans. That's the vibe I got. But he does this scream, and next thing you know, all the numbers of kaijus that was defeated by the defense force in this war, they start to reawaken. They start to get back up, you know, with bruises and all included. You even see the kaijus that faced off against Hoshina as well as Kikaru. Those two identified number kaijus, they start getting up as well. You even see the one that did the warp gate. He's starting to get back up. And it's crazy because the defense force, these guys are very exhausted and fatigued right now because they just finished fighting and killing all these kaijus. And you telling me you got to fight them again? But if it's just like when number 9 used the ability, these guys probably coming back a bit stronger than they were the very first time that we encountered them. That's how it was when number 9 did it. But I do like the fact that we see a little panel of Hoshina's brother, and he's like putting his tongue out like, ugh, gross. And you know he's a captain as well. So I just thought that was a hilarious ass moment that they snuck in there. You know, out of everybody's face, they stuck his face in there. But anyway, you got it where these kaijus are getting up, they're walking, and they're trying to figure out the range of these reawakened kaiju. And then that's when they say like it's all of Japan. And that's insane that this guy is that strong where he was able to awaken every defeated kaiju in all of Japan. Is just insane to me. It's insane. But you got it with Mina, she's being attacked by kaiju. You got it with the other defense force warriors are being attacked by kaiju. And then Hoshina, he lost his tail to his suit. So I'm curious how his fighting style is going to be. But number 10 is probably going to be excited for it. Number 10 probably going to be like, yo, let's get it. But you got it where Kafka goes back in to attack this ancient kaiju. The ancient kaiju puts the ruins all around his body, kind of like a barrier. Kafka can't get close to him. Next thing you know, he starts attacking Kafka, sending him flying back, and Kafka is realizing that he can't get near him. And then that's when you have Hoshina, who actually realized the only way we can beat this guy with retina numbers weapon 1. That's the only way to do it. And you got it with Gin. He's actually cutting through Kaiju and saying like, yo, he could use the foresight to open up a path. But you got it where Hoshina says you don't have the strength left to use it. He's like, yo, I'm not going to do it. And this shit was so cold. Next thing you know, you see Kafka on the verge about to get attacked, and you see some blasters come out of nowhere, and they happen to hit this ancient kaiju in the right spot. And then you have it where Gin is like, yo, I assume you've already studied his movement patterns through my vision in advance, meaning they share sight. That right there indicate that they share sight. And then you have it where Gin also says, well, my dumb disciple. And they show your girl Kikaru on top of the rooftop with a gun, also with her battle axe behind her. And she says, that's a foolish question. And you see she has the retinas of number 1 as well. So it seems as if it's shared eyesight between both people who have it. And I think that's dope as hell. Like I said, it reminds me of the Renegon from Naruto. All in all, man, this chapter was amazing as hell. I'm just amped to see what happens next. Now, I do want to see what happens on the battlefield next, but like I said earlier, I know for a fact that we're going to get a flashback chapter, or at least most of the chapter will be flashback, and then it might jump back to present day towards the end of the chapter. But yo, Kikaru's back, and I said I wanted her to get some payback against this ancient kaiju as well as number 9, because they kind of were involved in the father that got her father being devoured. Now, it would be crazy if the father still has some type of effect on the body of this ancient kaiju, because he is in there with number 9. So there's a chance that he might actually come to the forefront, and he might create an opening for the guys to be able to take him down. That's very possible. But now that we got Kikaru involved, I still want Reno to get involved. I want Reno to showcase what he's learned, what he has acquired over the time that he spent training without Kafka. I feel like what we got from him was amazing. It was dope to see, but I felt like it wasn't enough. I want him to actually be standing there next to Kafka, and Kafka sees how much more powerful Reno is. Now, granted, he's seen that to a certain extent before, but I feel like that was short-lived. That was too short a moment. With all the build-up we had to, Reno getting as powerful as he is now, that payoff wasn't big enough for me. It wasn't. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't enough, and I need more. So hopefully we get Reno joining in the battle. I would like to say Gin and Hoshina as well, and Mina, but I feel like they're probably more fatigued than anyone else. So I don't know if we're going to see them return to the battlefield. But y'all guys can let me know y'all thoughts and theories on it, how y'all feel about it. If you want them to return to the battlefield, if you feel like it should just be Kafka and Kikaru doing it to the bitter end, let me know. I'm curious to hear y'all thoughts on this one, man. But yo, this chapter was amazing, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.
Hikaru Shinomiya. My hobby is hunting kaiju. Don't you dare forget it.
What's up, y'all? We just got the latest chapter of Kaiju No8, chapter 124. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I wasn't excited for this chapter. And I know some of y'all like, yo, Nero, why? Hey, look, I woke up like, yo, I ain't gonna get excited. With the cliffhanger we got with the last chapter, it's going to be one of those days where you go to read the chapter and you're going to get that chapter 123.1. That's what I just knew exactly that was going to happen. I was like, yo, they're not going to get me. They've got me so many times in the past. I'm not going to be that guy who rushed to look at the app and then be unsatisfied because we're getting a little picture chapter. I just knew they were going to do it. So when I opened it, I'm like, it's a real chapter. What? Hey, it was a complete surprise. I did not expect them to do it, man. Hey, keep in mind, whenever we get a big cliffhanger in this series, it either goes on break or you get one of those picture chapters. You know what I'm saying? So I just knew that's what we was going to get. But it was a nice treat that we actually got an official chapter. And Kikaru, hey, yo, she's that girl, yo.
To rip through their armor like a sheet of tissue paper.
She has proven herself in this chapter right here. Now, I know a lot of people may look at this chapter and say it was an ass pull. I could see some people saying that, but the reason why the information wasn't available to us makes sense. They didn't want the intel to be leaked out and that person be devoured by number 9. So I can respect that. It makes sense. It doesn't feel like an ass pull to me with that excuse. It's very understandable, you know, and I really like that we get to see what Kikaru is truly capable of now. But what really made this chapter shine, it wasn't the new stuff. It wasn't that Kikaru was able to use the retina of number 1. It was the flashbacks. The flashbacks of the battle when the general lost to number 9 and was devoured. If you think about that chapter, and I should put the number of the chapter at the bottom of the screen so people can go back and read it. But if you think about that chapter, there were so many opportunities. Well, not so many, but there were a few opportunities that Kafka had to actually defeat number 9. Number 9 said it himself. Because he absorbed the general, he was in a weakened state and he needed to retreat. So he unleashed a very powerful blast. And this blast would have wiped out the whole area, would have killed Kikaru had Kafka not chose to jump in front of her and protect her. And that's one of the things she's been carrying with her, because she was so weak in that moment. You know, they were forced to let number 9 retreat and live another day after what he just did to her father, after just devouring the general. And Kikaru feels like if she was stronger, she could have protected herself and Kafka would have had the opportunity to get that strike on number 9. But then again, I mean, it could be a blessing in disguise, because if number 9 would have got that fatal strike on him, you know, this ancient kaiju would have emerged back then, and Kafka wasn't ready for it back then, definitely not. So, I mean, I guess it kind of worked to their advantage, but that whole time, this has been weighing heavily on her because of her weakness. She wasn't able to protect her father. Because of her weakness, she was holding everybody back. Gin, as well as, you know, Kafka had to hold back in order to protect her in the final moments of number 9 escaping after devouring the general. And those flashbacks make this chapter hit so hard, because it wasn't mentioned too often after that you know, we seen you know, Kikaru cry and feel sad about it, but it wasn't really showcased too much. But to know that this whole time that's been weighing heavily on her, and she wanted to do whatever it took to become stronger, to get her revenge for her father, to free her father, so to speak. And in this chapter, she says she wants to free her father, but I don't want you guys to look at that and think that she means like, oh, the general will come back. No, when she says free her father from being held captive within the body of number 9 in this ancient kaiju, she's saying like she's gonna free her father through death. She's gonna destroy this kaiju in order to set her father free. So it's not more so him coming back to life, it's more so letting him rest in peace. That's what she's referring to when she says, you know, she wants to free her father. I just wanted to clear it up, because I'm pretty sure some people probably like, oh, the general's still alive in there. No, he's not coming back. He was devoured. His body was already assimilated. I do not see it happening. I mean, it might be a small chance, but I don't see that happening. I think he's gone. But I will say, I would have loved for the general to see what his daughter has become. I think that would have been an epic moment. And maybe before like the body of this kaiju like deteriorates, you might have a moment where the general personality may come to the forefront for a brief moment as like the body's disintegrating and it says like, yo, Kikaru, you made me so proud. You know, maybe something like that may actually happen in the upcoming chapter. But one thing I will say, I do like the fact that we get to see Kafka and Kikaru fight together, work together as a team. All we need is Reno here. Now I know y'all gonna say, yeah, we got Reno when, you know, he was trying to pave a way for Kafka to get to Mina, but I don't really consider that, because those were underlings. Granted, they were powerful kaijus he was fighting, but they weren't like the main threat. So for me, I can't really say they fought side by side. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I feel about it. You guys can let me know how y'all feel about that, man. But yo, Kikaru is on a whole nother level. We about to get into this chapter, but make sure you subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications. If you want to donate to your boy, you can, you know, hit that thank you button, you know, but that's only if you want to. But the chapter pretty much starts off where you got a flashback of Kikaru where they're running tests on her to see which number weapon she's actually compatible with, and she's showing a class 5 with the number weapon 4, which is the suit that she's currently wearing and the suit that her mom wore in the past, you know, the suit that's able to take flight. It's crazy because I forgot that suit can fly until this chapter. I honestly forgot, but they say it's the fastest suit among the defense force. You got it where she's also class 4 and 3 other kaiju suit number weapons. Number 1, number 2, number 7. Now, number 1 is what Gin used, the retina eye. Number 2 is what the general used that was actually devoured by Kaiju number 9 in the past. And then we got number 7, which we don't have any information on number 7. Maybe she might actually use this weapon at some point, and we might actually get to see what number 7 weapon actually is. That would be dope as hell to see. I hope we get to see that. It might not even be her. It might be Mina, and I'm gonna tell y'all what we're talking about when we get to that point in this chapter. It might be Mina who used number 7, but the fact that she's compatible with 4 different number weapons is unheard of. She's the first person to ever be like this in the history of the Defense Force, and that right there already makes her goated, man. Yo, but I feel like part of that is because at least 2 of them is because of her origin. You know, her mother was able to utilize number 4, her father was able to utilize number 2. So right off the bat, she should be compatible with those 2 right off the bat. So then number 1 and number 7 is just, hey, just a pleasant surprise. So I really like the fact that she's different, but you got it where, you know, Gin as well as the other officers that's in the room with her while they actually running the test, they want to keep this a secret, because if someone was to devour the person who had this information, number 9 would know it. And seeing how number 9 is so well thought out when he goes to calculate stuff for a battlefield, he will put that into his strategic, you know what I'm saying, plans to actually counterattack this ability of hers. In fact, he may even target her as opposed to, you know what I'm saying, going straight after Mina. So the fact that they kept this was a secret was very smart. But you got it where right off the bat, the first thing Kikaru does when she finds out this information is she says, like, yo, Gin, teach me, Captain, teach me how to use number 1's retina. And we see that number 1 retina is very similar to the Rinnegan from Naruto, where if one eye sees it, all eyes see it. And so she's able to gather all this intel through the battles that Gin has had with this you know, ancient kaiju throughout the past few chapters. So all the data that Gin's been gathering, it was not only for himself, but it was for Kikaru so that she can use it as well in the battle. And so it was kind of like he just paved the way for it, and I like that. But you got it where they show Kafka, he's completely surprised, like, Kikaru, what's going on? You got it where Hoshina's like, yo, she can use number weapon 1. Like, yo, we was never told about this. We wasn't given this intel. And then you got it where Gin, I'm telling you, Gin is just cool as shit, yo. You got it where he was like, yo, well, I mean, yeah, we kept the information from you, but shit, you taught Kafka, you know, modified combat techniques in secret, right? So, I mean, we kind of even. He was like, this is the ace in the hole, you know, to get the jump on number 9. And we know Gin looked at the general as a father. You know, he looked at Kikaru's, you know, father as his father as well. And the fact that he was taken out, this whole time, Gin was seeking his revenge against number 9. And I don't know if you remember the chapter where he walks up to Kafka after Kafka finds out the more that he uses his kaiju power, the less likely he will be able to revert back to his human form. You had it where Gin walks up to him and he's like, yo, I don't care about none of that. He's like, yo, give me your help. Aid me in trying to get revenge against number 9 for what he did to the general. And you had it where Kafka stood up and said he will do that. So to see that Gin is still holding on to that grudge, he wanted to utilize Kikaru to her fullest capability so that he could get his revenge against number 9. And you got it where you know, Gin goes to say, like, yo, the embodiment of number 9, countless eyes, it shares everything of his field of vision to the wearer. And you know what I'm saying, the replacements, you know, the stored replacements ones that they have and storage and stuff like that. So Kikaru was able to observe everything that's been going on this battlefield. Now the crazy thing is, I wonder if her eyes had to be activated, because we know she didn't use it in the battle against number 15, or is it one of those things where, she's constantly gaining the data regardless. And I'm curious why she chose not to use it against number 15. Maybe she just wanted to save that trump card. Not only that, number 15 was more so like a psychic attack, a battle from within the mind, as opposed to a battle in the out front real world. But you got it where Hoshina's able to figure it out. He's like, yo, so he's been fighting with him, sharing his vision to Kikaru all this time. You got it where the new general's like, yo, look, man, it's gonna be kind of hard to defend what you actually did because they kept it a secret from so many members, a part of the defense force. And you have it where Gin said, like, yo, this is our last resort. I'll take full responsibility. Now go finish what you started that day, Kikaru. And you just got him with that cool ass look looking at Kikaru. And then you just got this golded panel of Kikaru standing on the rooftop, her axe inside of the rooftop, like piercing the rooftop while she's holding the handgun, looking at this ancient kaiju, and the ancient kaiju is also looking at her. And she's like, yo, you changed how you look, but daddy is still inside there. And you got it where she tells Kafka, like, the fact that she seems so mature from the Kikaru we knew so many chapters ago, how confident she feels, how she looks at Kafka and she's giving Kafka commands. She's like, yo, I'm going to send your fist, saying all the way to this thing's core, so make sure you shatter it. And then you have it where Kafka is observing Kikaru and he sees the change in her, and he's thinking about that day. That's when we get these flashbacks. He's thinking about the day where he hid outside the office door of Gin after they had the funeral for the general. And you got it where Kikaru, she didn't attend the funeral. She stayed in Gin's office, or her father's office, and cried the whole time. And then you got it where Gin was like, yo, you didn't come to the funeral to mourn your father. And she said, I will mourn him when the defense force neutralize the creature once and for all. I can't mourn him right now because he's still alive. And that's why I was saying earlier, freeing her father doesn't mean bringing him back to life. It just means she's freeing him from the clutches of number 9. So she knows her father won't return, but she wants him to be free from this beast. And I don't know, I just thought that was epic, man. Not only that, seeing the panels of her crying, I remember when I read those chapters, I was like, yo, damn, this shit's crazy. Because the general battle, man, he went all out. But you got it where Kafka looks at her and says, like, yeah, leave it to me. He's like, yo, let's free the director general. And Kafka himself is aware that freeing the general means killing the general. And it's a sad thing, but you got it where, Kikaru's observing everything. Kafka's powering up. You got the ghosts and spirits flowing around him. I love the fact that they do that with the power up. You got it where he's like, yo, let's go and take down this threat. Neutralization operation begins now. Of course, you got it where Kafka's heading straight towards this ancient kaiju. It starts to use those ruin attacks, but right when it's about to rip off Kafka's head again, that's when you have your girl Kikaru blasting the location of the organs that's actually trying to attack Kafka, using her, using the retinas of number 1 to actually see it. And she's like, yo, I gotta destroy the organs before they attack, and I got to dodge at the same time. And this just looks epic. You got her trying to locate the core at the same time, shooting this kaiju whenever it tries to attack Kafka to keep him at bay. Then you got it where it's trying to advance. This ancient kaiju is trying to attack Kikaru, but keep in mind she has the fastest number weapon suit. She's able to avoid it because she's able to fly. She's in the air, zooming around, attacking it and dodging at the same time. And then you have this moment where Mina starts talking to Nogi and tells her, like, yo, I have a favor to ask. And that's why I think there's a chance that we might see Mina get a new numbers weapon. She might actually pull out number 7 and just do some work. That's what I'm saying. Like, I really think it's possible, because we don't know, and we don't find out the favor that she just asked Nogi. We do not know at this moment. But of course, you got it where Kikaru, she's dodging all the attacks, and she's also reflecting on that moment where she thought about her father's death, and she was shedding tears, saying, like, yo, she will become stronger. She's thinking about all she can do at that moment was watch Gin as well as Kafka face off against number 9. She said she dragged everyone down. And like I said, there was a moment where Kafka could have got the finishing attack off on number 9, but he chose not to because he had to protect Kikaru from the blast that number 9 unleashed right before he was able to retreat. And he was able to get away, and you see that's been weighing on her this whole time. And then you got it where she says to herself, but this time I swear I'll get you out of there. Just hold tight, daddy. And the chapter ends with her flying above the ancient kaiju looking for its core. beautiful chapter. This shit was amazing. I'm sorry, yo. This was a great ass chapter. I loved it from start to finish. To see the growth of Kikaru, to see how she's able to utilize many number weapons, and right now she's using 2. I wonder what type of strain it would put on her body if she was to use more than 2. I'm very curious about that. And as far as we know, she hasn't used full release in this battle. So once she does full release, there's a chance she might even be able to take her retina eyes to the level that Gin was able to make his evolve to, and maybe even further. Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. But I am very curious what Mina is up to. What is Mina planning on doing? What did she have Nogi actually do for her as a favor? Do you think it will be her using a number weapon 7, or maybe even another numbers weapon that we're unaware of? Let me know your thoughts on that. I'm very curious, man. And how do you feel about the general? Do you think it's a small chance he could return, or do you think it's more so what I was saying, where, you know, she wants to free her father by, you know, by destroying number 9, freeing him through death? Let me know your thoughts on that. And if you like this video, thumb it up, please subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.
Head on.
What's up, y'all? We back at it, and Kaiju number 8 has finally returned with chapter 125. In case you don't know, we had like a whole month break before we got this chapter, and it was real out here. We wanted to see what happened. Kikaru just unlocked her new numbers weapon 1 eyes, and I wanted to see what she was gonna do with it, but you know what I'm saying? We had to wait a month before we got this chapter. And it's crazy. It doesn't matter how many pages you get in Kaiju number 8 chapters, it always go by so fast. And when you get to that last panel, you're like, this last page? Man, this must have been a short chapter. Then you go count the pages and you realize, like, nah, this is as long as they always are. It just went by that damn fast. Like, yo, this chapter was, it was over that quickly, man. But I did enjoy this chapter. It was a solid, I'll say a 9 out of 10 in my opinion. You guys can let me know y'all rating down below. But there are a few things I got questions for, and there's a couple things that I would have liked for them to add. And maybe it will happen in the upcoming chapters. I just don't know. But in this battle, this final battle with the ancient kaiju, and you got everybody working to take down these, to take down this ancient kaiju. I really want Reno to be involved, and I get it. In the last chapter, this ancient kaiju used number 9 abilities to make the, other kaijus return from the dead. And so you got a lot of the defense force members busy taking down these corpses, and they're already exhausted. So I imagine Reno is helping out in that type of situation. But I would still like Reno to serve some type of purpose in this battle with the ancient kaiju. Maybe it frees it in place long enough for them to penetrate the core. Maybe something like as simple as that. I just want Reno to be involved because I feel like out of everybody, he's trained and worked so hard to get to the point where he can stand by Kafka's side. For him not to be involved in this final battle, I'm a little disappointed in that. But like I said, it might be something that changed in the future chapters. The battle is still ongoing, so it could happen. But I would like for that to happen. And maybe I'm the only one who feel like that. If you guys want Reno to actually join the battle, let me know down below, because maybe it's just me who feel like that. Be like, yo, Nero, you bugging. I like it the way it is. Let me know. Now, with that being said, after reading this chapter, the one thing I want to know is, was Kikaru's mother stronger than the general at the point of her death? Like, I know eventually they said the general became the strongest person to ever be in the defense force, but I wonder at the point of her death, who was the strongest between them two? Just based on what we get in this chapter right here that we're about to dive into, I'm just curious who was the strongest between the mother and the father, because the way she was talking, or the stuff we get in this chapter, leads me to believe that the mom was stronger at that point in time. And then once she died, it made the general, go all out and become stronger and stronger so that he could protect his daughter and the things that he considered to be important to him. Now, I mean, I'm just really curious about that. Let me know your thoughts on that down below. But we about to get into this chapter, man. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell for all notifications, man. But the chapter starts off where you got your girl Kikaru embracing her new numbers weapon 1, the retina eyes, and she's doing it to locate the core on this kaiju so that Kafka could take it down. And she's pretty much observing everything that's going on, and she's saying like, yo, I swear I will get you out of there, daddy, just hold tight. Now, like I said, I don't think the general's coming back, especially with that scene where they show him falling into the dark abyss. And I know how all these different kaijus that's absorbed into this ancient kaiju still kind of seem like they are alive, or they still have somewhat of a presence, like when we seen Mina go, somewhat get assimilated before she broke free. So there's a chance her father is in there, but I don't think he's walking away from this alive. I think it's going to turn out to be a situation where maybe they defeat this ancient kaiju and the father, a part of him might fall out and it might speak, but at some point in time he's going to die, he's going to fade away. I believe something like that's going to go down, and he's going to share his last words with his family, with Kafka, and then he's going to go. That's just my thoughts on how it's going to end for the general, but it could turn out another way. I just don't see it going another way. I'm gonna be real with you guys. But of course you got it where your boy Kafka, he's hitting the kaiju with strong attacks, this ancient kaiju with strong attacks, and then every time this ancient kaiju do the ruin attack where it pretty much rips you apart, every time he locks on Kafka and put that on him, you have it where your girl Kikaru locates where the target, where the attack is being sent from. She destroys it. That way the attack misses Kafka, and I love the teamwork. I love seeing these guys fight side by side. And also, while this is going on, you got it where they show Hoshina, and Hoshina is actually taking down some of the, some of these kaijus that came back to life due to, number 9 abilities being in play. And I like the fact that Hoshina is still on the battlefield doing this damn thing. Now, I'm assuming that your boy Gin is still too injured. He got stabbed near the heart and he's still recovering, so he's not able to move because we don't see him at all in this chapter. But of course, you got it where Kafka managed to dodge the attack thanks to Kikaru, blasting the portion from the attack, or the part of the body that was going to attack. And then you have it where Kafka does a punch. Both of their punches collide, so you got this giant fist from the kaiju, the ancient kaiju, colliding with Kafka's fist, which is the size of an average human. And just the fact that Kafka is able to stop his punch mid-air, it just shows how powerful Kafka has became. And I love it, man. The way how strong he is right now, I don't think no other kaiju can actually be a threat. So if the series does continue, it's going to have to be kaiju that's even more powerful than than this ancient kaiju. And with that being said, that means a lot of the defense force soldiers are going to have to get even stronger in order to compete with with them, in order to make it where Kafka isn't the end all be all as far as we got to go to him every time we get into a battle. But anyway, while that's going on, you got it where everyone's noticing, they're saying Kafka attacks, or number 8 attacks, are very effective against this kaiju. And then next thing you know, you got it where Kikaru, she's flying around trying to locate the core. And then you have it where the scientists that's in the office, they're saying, yo, her body is already overheating, but it's way too early for that. And I didn't even think of there could be a possible drawback for using number weapons. I knew about the whole shortening your life thing, because we heard that in the previous previous chapters, but I didn't think of any other drawback other than shortening your life. But you got it where Hoshina says yo, it's only natural. She doesn't have the proficiency of a captain, and then on top of that, she's using 2 number weapons at the same time. And up until this point, we've never seen someone do that. She's the first person we've ever seen to use 2 number weapons, and because of that, it's causing her max out time to be shortened. I didn't even consider that to be an issue, to be something that could happen. But now that it's happening, it does make sense. She's having the burden of 2 number weapons on her body as opposed to 1. So where you have people like Hoshina and them who's able to do it max out for about 10 minutes, it seems as if Kikaru was only able to do 5 minutes, and maybe even less than that, But of course, while that's going on, you got Kafka as well as Hoshina thinking she won't last too much longer. And they're thinking yo, man, you have it where this ancient kaiju is using number 9's abilities, and it's probably condensed a shield around its core to protect it, which is pretty smart. Number 9 was always a very intelligent person, and you see that this ancient kaiju is using the intelligence that it gained from number 9 to use, to counter attack and also protect itself from being hurt. And you got it where Kafka saying we just need to use a huge amount of power on the weak spot to actually break through it and get to the core. And of course, they're like, yo, how are we going to expose the core? And then that's when you have Mina say, like, yo, I'll shoot it down. She's going to shoot it down with the giant railgun that she used against, I believe it was Kaiju number 14. She used it on the one that the floating statue. I might be mixing the numbers up. I do apologize if I'm mixing it up. But I believe it was number 14 or 15. I know one of those numbers is the one that Kikaru fought, but I want to say it was number 14 that she shot down with the railgun. But she's heading on her way there. And I imagine in the previous chapter when we heard her talking to old girl saying she needed a favor, the favor probably was to have that gun charged up by the time she get to it. So you got it where she's running to that location and they're trying to buy time and trying to push this ancient kaiju in the path and the target zone of this railgun. And while that's going on, of course, you got Kikaru. She's flying around, she's focusing on all the signals, trying to locate the core within this kaiju. And as she's doing that, she's seeing a lot of decoys, cores from the previous kaijus that were collected by this ancient kaiju, which is insane to think. And when you see this panel where you see all these different cores, it just shows you how many monsters is collected over time, which is kind of sad because I imagine these guys didn't want to be absorbed and turned into what they are now. So it's kind of sad. So she's trying to focus and avoid the these decoys and find the true core. And as she's looking, you see her percentage power, her combat unleashed power is dropping steadily because of the burden of using 2 number weapons. You got it where it drops 12%. She feels the strain on her body, but she isn't giving up. She's still searching. And you got it where even the scientists, the people working in the office saying like, yo, she's taking on a tremendous amount of stress. Like, yo, she just lost another additional 5%. And I like stuff like this when it happens in series, because I can only imagine how when it gets into anime form, they got the right music playing in the background. You got it where she's trying to locate this core, and you just see how dire the situation is, and everyone's watching the same. I can only imagine how amazing and how goated this is going to be when the anime actually takes this and adapt it. But you got it where she's looking through all these mini cores to locate the true core. And while that's going on, she has a flashback where she thanks her daddy as well as her mom, and how why her dad was so strict. It's a moment where she was asleep as a child, where she was pretending to be asleep, and you have it where the mother says like, yo, I'm gonna have to harden my heart to train her. I'm going to be strict with her, pretty much saying she's going to train her and be rough with her, but that's necessary in order for her to become strong, to survive. And once she passed away, it seems as if the father, the general, he took the road that the mom was going to take. So that's what kind of leads me to believe, like, was she stronger than the general at that point in time? I know eventually the general gets labeled as the strongest in the defense force, but I wonder at this point in time, was she the strongest, and that's why she was going to be the one who trained Kikaru, but she she died, and because of that the general had to take her place, because the mom was telling the general like, yo, I'm gonna have to harden my heart to her, so you're gonna have to give her all the love she needs. And this was before her passing. So once she passed, it was the general who said like, yo, I will take the responsibility that my wife had, and I will train my daughter to be the strongest. So he was pretty much a stand-in for the mom. That's why I'm really curious about who was stronger at that point in time. But you have it where Kikaru finally locates it. She locates the real core of this ancient kaiju, and she says like, yo, I can see it from the signal. It's the control center, the main core. She's sharing the location with everybody. People are shouting, well done to Kikaru. Then you have it where this ancient kaiju giant hand goes to smack Kikaru. And at that point in time, Kikaru is unable to avoid the hit because her output drops even more. Her output decreases even more, and she gets smacked by this ancient kaiju, and this blow looks devastating. You got it where everybody's screaming like, yo, she just lost another 15%. She's at her limit. And you got it with Kafka himself. He's screaming her name and he's running in her direction. But then that's when she shows how strong she is. She's like, yo, stay back. didn't I tell you, Kafka, like, yo, I'm done being rescued. And that means that moment when her father got, her father got absorbed by number 9, and she was there helpless on the battlefield and just had to bear witness to it. And Kafka ended up having to save her, as well as Geen. You know, she felt responsible for everything that happened. She felt that if she hadn't been that weak on the battlefield, you know, maybe they could have stopped number 9 from getting away back then, keeping this instance from happening, you know, not knowing that it would have made the ancient kaiju come to the forefront back then and there. But you have it where she's been blaming herself this whole time. She's been seeing herself as this pathetic loser who had to be rescued and saved on the battlefield. And so now on the battlefield, she doesn't want to be that person. She doesn't want to be the person that's saved by another. She wants to be the person that saved people. And when you think about when we first seen her on her very first mission, when these guys were trying to get into the defense force, remember, she was running around saving everybody, saying no one dies as long as I'm on the battlefield. And I feel like that was a callback. You know, this moment right here was a callback to that moment back then when we first got introduced to her.
No quitters and no casualties. Not when I'm on the battlefield.
I really like that about her character. I really like this moment in the chapter. And then she says, like, yo, resuming mission. She picks up her gun, and you have it where she's thinking about her father, and she's saying, like, yo, I'll be okay now. You know, no matter what dilemma I may face, no matter what kaiju I may stand against, I won't give in. And then you have it where you got old girl shouting that they're pretty close to being in the path of the railgun. And you have it where Kikaru's thinking to herself, like, yo, Captain, Mama, Daddy, I'll surpass them all. She was like, yo, I'll be the strongest defense force officer there ever was. And I love this fact. Now, she's not, I'm guessing she's not considering Kafka to be a defense force soldier because he's in his kaiju form. But you have it where Kafka is understanding where she's coming from. He's seeing her attack that's distracting the kaiju, and he's taking advantage of it to actually punch and knock this ancient kaiju in the path of the railgun. And you got it where old girl jumps on. She says the target point has been reached, and Kafka calls out to Mina, and you have it where she's on the railgun and she says locked on, and that's how the chapter ends. This shit was goated as hell. I really love this chapter. It was goated as hell. But like I said, I still want Reno to be involved, and I'm thinking there's going to be a situation in the next chapter where maybe the ancient kaiju is going to try to get out the way, and then that's when Reno Ice is going to come, freeze it in place long enough for Mina to get off the shot, expose the core. Kafka's gonna go in there, hit it with everything he got, destroy the core, and then he might even have it where Kikaru or somebody like goes and save him from the explosion that's gonna come from the core detonating. I don't know, I just see something like that going down. I could be wrong, but either way, man, amazing chapter. Gotta wait 2 more weeks, man. Damn. The railgun is dope though. I just like the visor over her eyes, and just how you can see the lock on target. I really like the design of this, you know what I'm saying, of the visor. But I would still like for Mina to get a numbers weapon and something that's more mobile, because this is like a stationary cannon. Like, she has to go to the cannon. It's not like she could take it with her, which is one of the downfalls, because she could have been helped them out on the battlefield had that been something she had on her. Maybe she will get a number weapon at some point, but if she's this powerful without a numbers weapon, imagine how powerful she will be once she get one. But let me know your thoughts on this chapter down below. And if you like this video, thumb it up, please subscribe, hit the bell, and I will catch y'all in the next one, man. Peace. Hold up. Was that the ghost of her mom? Was that the ghost of her mom?
No quitters and no casualties. Not when I'm on the battlefield.
Hikaru.
What's up, y'all? We back at it with another chapter of Kaiju number 8, chapter 126. Now, don't get me wrong. This chapter was a solid 10 out of 10. But if they don't show Reno soon, and him contributing to this final moment against this ancient kaiju, I'm gonna be highly upset. That's the one thing I feel like this battle is missing. I feel like everyone had a moment against this ancient kaiju, except for your boy Reno. I mean, you had Hoshina, you had Ging, you had, you know what I'm saying, Kikaru, you had Mina, as well as Kafka. All of them had a moment against this ancient kaiju, and your boy Reno still hasn't came into play. So I'm really hoping they give him a moment. And I get it, some people may feel like his part was closed up when he was actually able to stand side by side with Kafka when Kafka was trying to go save Mina. I get that, and I do think that was an epic moment for his character as well, just seeing his growth and him being able to showcase to Kafka how powerful he has become. I do get that, but at the same time, I feel like he needs some get back against this ancient kaiju, because just think about number 9 mind is within this guy. So when you think about what number 9 did to your boy Reno as well as Haru when they were when Kefka first met number 9, he really did a number on them. And I feel like as well as Haru, him as well, him and Reno definitely need some get back against this ancient kaiju. Now, I might be the only one feeling like that, and you guys can let me know down below, man. You guys let me know. But yeah, I feel like it's going to be a missed opportunity if they don't allow Reno to show up and aid in some type of way. It could be something as simple as calling out a distraction for Kafka to, you know what I'm saying, to get the final blow or something along those lines. It could be something as simple as that, just long as he has some type of involvement, man. You got people that's in the office that are getting showcased in this moment right now, and your boy Reno hasn't. I get it. Some of these kaijus came back to life and Reno's probably handling them guys, but yo, hey man, look man, what are the other guys doing? Let them handle that so that Reno could join this battle. Man, that's just my only gripe about this. This is my only gripe about the last few chapters. But other than that, 10 out of 10. I will say though, this chapter, like I know other chapters of Kaiju number 8 feel fast. This shit felt so damn fast that I literally was like, there's no way. There's no way this is the last panel. There is no way. Well, we only got 24 pages. Usually, I want to say it's about 26 pages if I'm remembering correctly. But like, yo, this shit just went by super fast, super fast. Granted, my girl Kikaru, man, MVP. But let's get it. Matter of fact, if y'all got another MVP, let me know down below who you think it was MVP of the chapter. And let me know y'all rating for this overall chapter. But we about to get into it. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications. Greatly appreciate
Okay, time for the revenge match.
it, man. With that being said, let's get into it. So the chapter starts off where you got your girl Mina, you know, she actually sees her target, which is the ancient kaiju, is in reach. And you just have this amazing moment where they show her with the blood running down her face. She got the visor on. I don't know why. I just think this scene just looks so amazing with the hurt visor and everything, and just how it kind of reminds me of like Iron Man, where you have like the, you know, the digital stuff floating in the air around you. Every time I see that in any series, it makes me think of Iron Man. But you see that her gun is fully loaded, fully charged, and she goes to fire. And you got that lock-on symbol on her eye on the visor. Goated moment, man. It's the simple shit, man. It's the simple stuff that get me every time. But you see, she blasts the cannon straight towards this ancient kaiju, and you got it with the ancient kaiju. He doesn't even try to dodge. He goes straight to counterattack, and he fires a beam of his own straight at it. And I'm curious why he didn't use this beam earlier in the battle. Maybe was it that he felt like it would leave him too open for Kafka to actually punish him if he missed? Maybe that's the case. But you have it where the two blasts collide, and it seems as if the ancient kaiju blast is just a little bit bigger. If you look at the panel, you can see like the darkness drawn around the blast coming from him as opposed to the darkness from the blast coming from Mina. But you got it where it's colliding. He's actually starting to push Mina blast back towards her, and then you just have this moment where they show all the members. Like I said, they're showing everybody, people that's not even in the battlefield, the new general, the people in the office. They're showing everyone. That's what I'm saying. Like, yo, they could at least have Reno look up to the sky or something, like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Let him do something, please. I want Reno involved, man. He's a dope character. But anyway, you got it where the blasters colliding with one another, and then you have it where the cannon that Mina is using is starting to, you know, its circuits is starting to overheat, and the barrel of the gun, the barrel of the heat is rising rapidly. Now, I would have loved, and I hope they add this when this gets animated, I would have loved if they would have showcased like parts of this giant cannon melting away from the power that it's producing. If they would have took the time out to show that, like they show the cannon and they show like electricity and stuff functioning, malfunctioning around it, but they don't actually show it melting like everyone is speaking, like, because you have old girl with the glasses, she's like, yo, the melting has begun, meaning that the gun itself is starting to melt. So I would have loved that they showcased that in this chapter, and I hope it's something they'll make up for in the actual anime when it gets to this moment. I say this probably won't be till like what, season 3 or season 4, but I'm hoping they actually showcase this in the anime, showcase the gun actually melting. But you got it where Mina, she's like, yo, she's saying to herself, it won't last much longer. And then that's when you have this epic moment. Now imagine this in the anime where you have this amazing music playing and you just have it where your girl Kikaru just comes out of the clouds from above this ancient kaiju with her battle axe. Yeah, I thought she left her battle axe on the top of the building, but nah, she has it back in her hand, and it seems as if she threw away her the little rifle she has, and she's talking to her outfit, she's talking to her numbers weapon, and she's like, please, numbers weapon 4. And I love this because it would have been amazing. What would have made this over the top is if she would have seen the ghost of her mom like nod at her like, you got this, daughter. Like that would have probably put this over the top. But she's asking her numbers weapon to please, she knows she's already pushed it to its limit, but please just give her enough for one more attack. And you have it where you can see her output level right now is 51.8%. And she's saying like, just one more attack. Lend me your strength. You got blood running down her face. Such an epic moment. And you have within an instance, her output jumps from 51.8 to 93%. And they do actually show her mom hand on the blade. I didn't even notice it till just now. I didn't notice it when I first read it. I'm assuming that's the ghost of her mom actually touching her hand while she's holding the battle axe. And if that is the case, that just made this moment even better, man. Oh my God, I can't believe I missed that. I was thinking that was her hand, but I'm looking closely at the panel. Her mom places her hand on the battle axe as if like, yo, I will guide you, my daughter. Damn, that's epic. That might be the best moment of the chapter right there. That might be the best moment of the damn chapter. But you got it where she says the Defense Force officer is the spear of the state and the shield of the people. Damn, that's cold. And then you got it where she's using Gin, number 1 retina eye ability to locate, where to hit the head to cause the most damage. And she was like, but this attack, and she's also thinking of her father and how many fun times that she had jumping into her father's hands, as a child, which really make this moment really sad because it's almost as if she's saying goodbye to her father because she has to set him free, and the only way to set him free is to destroy this ancient kaiju. Damn, that's yo. Hey, look, Kikaru has some of the best writing in this series. I would say Kafka, Kikaru, and Reno. I would say, Gin a little bit as well. I'd say Gin would probably be 4th, but they have some of the best writing. There's some of the best written characters in the series. Don't get me wrong, every character in this series is written pretty damn good. Some people would argue as far as with Mina, but I don't think nobody would disagree with the rest of the characters that's within this series. And then just even thinking about the anime and how they expand on some of the characters that they don't really expand on in the actual manga. So, where you would look at them and be like, yo, nah, they actually are a little more complex than I thought. They're not just a single layer character. But you have this amazing moment where she says, I give it to you and you alone, meaning everything she has in this attack. And you just have this amazing panel of her, doing her rising thunder or falling thunder attack, smashing the head of this ancient kaiju. And I'm not gonna lie, when this happened right here, when she smashed the head and you see like the blast kind of coming out of the eyeballs of the head, it really made me think of, and I know some of y'all gonna be like, wow, you might be reaching, but it really made me think of Dragon Ball Z. When I believe, it was Dragon Ball Z when you had Raccoon about to shoot a blast out his mouth. And I can't remember who it was. Either it was Vegeta. I think it was Vegeta or Gohan. One of them hit the head of Raccoon while he was shooting a blast. and it caused Raccoon to like pretty much overheat. You had steam coming out of his ears. He lost a couple of teeth from that blast. That's what this moment really made me think of. But you got it where Kikaru actually smashed the head of this ancient kaiju, made the blast stop as she's like falling towards the ground. Mina seizes that opportunity to blast straight through this ancient kaiju, and she rips straight through it, man, straight through it. And then as Kikaru's falling to the ground, she says, "Please, Kafka." Yo, oh my God, this is just an epic moment. And then they show Kafka in the middle of the ancient kaiju's body, and he's about to do a attack on it. He's about to punch it with everything he got, and he says, "Leave it to me." Now, of course, we do see the barrier, you know, from number 9 ability surrounding the core, and I'm curious if Kafka is strong enough to shatter it in one shot, or is it going to be one of those things where he damaged it and then it runs off, and you know what I'm saying, we might see him somewhere in the future. Very curious how this is actually going to go down. But I really love this moment where you got Kafka like charging up to punch this this spear, this core. It kind of reminds me, like, it looks like Gon from Hunter x Hunter. I see moments like that. It also gives me vibes of JJK, you know, your boy Yuji, as he does his move as well, and then with the energy flowing around him, kind of looks like curse energy a little bit. So I'm not saying for sure, but I could picture the author took inspiration from those two you know, those two characters, you know, Gon as well as, you know what I'm saying, Yuji, for this actual moment right here, because the stance he does looks damn near identical to you know what I'm saying, what they do for their primary attacks. But I'm very curious, will Kafka be able to shatter this core with it being within this barrier? It's something we're going to have to wait for. Hopefully he will. But again, it might be a situation where Reno has to get involved. Look, man, I'm gonna keep saying it till it goddamn happen. Maybe Reno could take out the barrier so that Kafka could hit the core directly. Now, I do feel like the series is definitely not ending. I know some people are speculating that this might be the final battle, and that's why this battle is taking so long. Some people feel like it's being dragged on. I myself, I do feel like this battle is going very long, but at the same time, is to showcase the development of every character. So I'm okay with it, because we had chapters where they were showcasing what Gin was capable of, what new moves he's learned. They had chapters where they were showcasing your boy Hoshina and what new moves he acquired and learned, as well as the same with Kikaru, Mina, as well, Reno, and some of the other members from the Defense Force that other people, you know, love. So I do feel like I said, I do feel like it's long, but I feel like it's justified because they're giving development to the characters that we care about. So I'm cool with that. But at the same time, I don't think it's ending, because I feel like that moment where your boy number 9 said he's the strongest on the surface right now, I feel like why make that statement if you know, the series is going to end, unless he was referring to the ancient kaiju within him, and he was saying he's the strongest on the surface as far as that his body. Now that could be the case, and that would make sense. So, but I would like to be hopeful and think the series is not wrapping up. But let me know y'all thoughts down below. How do y'all feel about it? How do y'all feel about this chapter? Who do you think was the MVP? For me, Kikaru, hands down. You know, Kafka, he didn't have a big role in it. None of the people besides Kikaru and Mina, they had the biggest parts in this chapter. But just seeing the ghost of her mom reach down and touch the battle axe, man, that was an epic moment for me, man. But let me know your thoughts down below, and if you like this video, thumb it up, please subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.